die diddy die die die, yay diddy die diddy die die die.
Shabbat Shalom and welcome everybody. We are coming to you from our beautiful sanctuary. We've changed locations yet again. It's a different place. We are blessed to have our new camera, and so we're trying different spaces. Part of it is an anticipation of high holidays.
Yes.
We are going to have many opportunities to be together during that time of the year. As always, you can find a link to the prayer book pages, PDF for the service in the comments. Important information will also appear in the comments during the service, and for that we thank Dave Zucker and Aviva Simons who are managing our streaming. And Peter Pizer, thank you.
Oh.
Please say hi if you are watching by typing Shabbat Shalom in the comments line. And don't forget to click return. This is live. We are live.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is not recorded. Just a reminder about our page numbers. If you have two sets, we're calling the numbers in the square brackets. If you're using your own Mishkan Tefillah, we invite you to find Shabbat morning service, Roman numeral number 2. In your Mishkan Tefillah. If not, if you're following on the PDF, we're on the first page of the PDF, and we're going to use all the pages. If you have a technical difficulty during the streaming, please reach out to CBT's technical support line at 913-303-1134. And if you have feedback about our service, we suggest that you take notes and send us an email next week with your comments. Thank you in advance for that. Shabbat Shalom and welcome again to our service. We continue on the second page of your handouts, of your PDF, on page 288, as we together join in singing Mode Ani, as we offer thanks to God for having restored our souls in mercy and bringing us back to this beautiful rainy morning. We needed some rain for
yes.
our crops and our gardens. So here we go.
מודה אני לפניך, מלך חי וקיים, שהחזרת בי נשמתי לחמלה, לחמלה, רבה אמונתך, רבה אמונתך. מודה אני לפניך, מלך חי וקיים, שהחזרת בי נשמתי לחמלה, לחמלה, רבה אמונתך, רבה אמונתך, רבה אמונתך, רבה אמונתך.
We continue together on page 291. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe. With divine wisdom you have made our bodies, combining veins, arteries, and vital organs into a finely balanced network. Wondrous maker and sustainer of life, were one of them to fail, how well we are aware. We would lack the strength to sustain life before you. Blessed are you, Adonai, source of our health and strength. Baruch atah Adonai, רופא כל בשר ומפליא לעשות.
אלוהי, אלוהי, נשמה, שנתת בי טהורי. אלוהי, אלוהי, נשמה, שנתת בי אתה יצרת, אתה נפחת בי, ואתה משמרה בי כלי. אלוהי, אלוהי, נשמה, שנתת לי
We continue together on page 293 as we offer blessings for our daily miracles, Nisim Bechol Yom, beginning on page 293.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר נתן לשכל ובינה להכווין בין יום ובין לילה.
אמן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם פוקח עברי.
אמן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם מתיר אסורים.
אמן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם זוקף כפופים.
אמן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם רוקע הארץ על המים.
אמן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם המכין מצעדי גבר.
אמן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם מלביש ערומים.
אמן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם הנותן ליהב כוח.
אמן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם המעביר שינה מעיניי ותנומה מאף אפיי.
אמן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, שעשני בצלם אלוהים.
אמן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, שעשני בת חורים.
אמן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, שעשני ישראל.
אמן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, עושה ישראל בגבורה.
אמן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, עוטר ישראל בתפארה.
Amen.
On page 302, in the middle of the page, we join together in singing Tzadik Katamar.
Tzadik Katamar yifra ke'erez balevanon yizke sheturim bebeit Adonai bechatzot Eloheinu yafrichu od yanut beseva v'sheni merananim להגיד לי ישר אדוני צורי אלוהיו אתה
On page 306, we conclude this section of the service, the Pezukei, the Zimbra, the songs of praise, as we sing together Psalm 150, Hallelujah. On page 317, we continue together as we recite the blessing before the recitation of the Shema, which will come immediately after this prayer on page 318. But first, 317. O God, inspiration and guide for all, you have spoken in 1,000 tongues for us to hear. In every land and every age, your children have heard you and imagined you in separate ways. And yet, O God, you are one, unifier of humanity. We give thanks for the sages and teachers who bring us understanding of your will. Gratefully we recall the lawgivers and prophets, the psalmists and sages of Israel, and joyfully we remember that from the dawn of Israel's life we would turn to you and find purpose. May the teachings of our ancestors live on in our minds, and their passion for righteousness stir our hearts. Help us to live so that our daily conduct reveals the beauty and wisdom of your truth.
Baruch atah Adonai, habocher be'amo Yisrael be'ahava. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levecha v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'odecha. Ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta b'ham b'shivtecha beveitecha u'v'lechtecha b'derech ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לעולכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
Amen. Together we continue on page 322 as we join in the words of our prayer, Mi Chamocha. Just remember, we are in the month of Elul, and you just probably heard a slightly different melody for our Shema, and we will do the same now for Mi Chamocha. We're trying to refresh our minds, our memories of high holidays. Melodies is also a way of forecasting what's coming up.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar ba'kodesh, Torah tehilot osef eleh malakutecha la'ubanecha. I am doing the evening. I am so sorry. שירה חדשה שפטו לי, לשמך על שפת הים, יחד כולם הודו, והדליקו ואהבו, אדוני לו לעולם ועד.
As we enter our Amidah moments, the moment of our Tefillah, we have been making space for everyone at home watching us to pray this section silently and to also take this opportunity to offer a private prayer. We begin together on page 322 with Sur Israel, and then on the next page, Adonai Sfatai, and then we'll go into a silence moment, and then we'll come back together for a prayer at the end of that. But first, Sur Israel on page 322.
Sur Israel, kuma bezchut Israel, uvdechinu mecha, Yehuda ve'Yisrael, go tefillatech. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. לנצח נצחים ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש.
On page 367, our service continues with the service for the reading of the Torah. We begin with Al Shlosha Dvarim.
Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Olam, Olam, Olam. Ve'al-Giminu Chasadi, Al-Torah, Ve'al-Avodah, Ve'al-Giminu Chasadi, Al-Shosha Devarim, Al-Shosha Devarim, Al-Shosha, Shosha Devarim, Haolam, Haolam, Amen. You're getting really good at that.
Practice makes perfect.
Excellent.
Just a reminder that we have links for the reading of the Torah for this morning. You can find them in the comments and in our e-news that you received yesterday morning. We come now to the final laws found in the book of Deuteronomy of Dvarim, and they all deal with matters regarding the individuals, their families, and the neighbors. And this is in contrast with previous laws that we found all the way through chapter 21 in the book of Deuteronomy that were concerned mostly with public officials and the nation as a whole. Many of the laws here in the book of Deuteronomy that we found in Parashat Kitetse, which literally means when you go out to war, reflect Deuteronomy's consideration for the welfare of women. And the first law that appears at the beginning, and just a reminder to everybody that we are reading the Torah in the triennial cycle. We're now at the beginning of the triennial cycle. It's my 4th year here at Beth Torah, so we did year 1, 2, 3, and now we're back to year 1.
And we're nearing the end of the beginning of the...
Oh, correct, because very soon after Simchat Torah, we'll go to year 2 of the triennial. So we'll start kind of in the middle of most of the Torah portions. But we're still at the very beginning, and the first law that appears in this Torah portion has to do with a captive woman, a woman who's captured in war. Now, I just want to say that we need to first look at these laws in its historical context.
Okay, I can do that.
So we're talking about 2,500, 3,000 years ago. Now, in the ancient world, most female captives became slaves. Mm-hmm. That was the regular occurrence. But in some cases, soldiers would find one whom they desired to take as a wife or a concubine. And this is a practice well known from other ancient customs and cultures in Homeric Greece and in early Arabia. That was the common practice. So, in light of what we read in this week's Torah portion, the law will permit an Israelite to marry a foreign woman, and most scholars think that this must refer to a non-Canaanite woman, because in the ancient world, especially in the area where the Israelites lived, there were prohibitions against marrying Canaanite women because they were too closely associated. And if you study with me the origins of early Israel, you will probably remember that in theory, at least early on, there was really not a big distinction between Canaanite and Israelite. Oh. And so the distinction became religious and cultural later on. So in a sense, we're all Canaanites at some level. So the law stipulates that you may bring her into your house if you're a soldier, and you will trim her hair and pare her nails, and she would spend a whole month lamenting her father and mother. Now, this is an interesting custom because even today, it is our practice to mourn our loved ones for a whole month. And in this sense, they are saying that this woman who was taken captive, who will probably never see her parents again, well, she will never see her parents again, she is in mourning, and so she is given the same practice that Jews will have. In other words, there was great respect and recognition for her grief, and we were supposed to then honor that grief for that first month. And then what happens is that later on, the woman could become then a wife to this soldier. And here's the interesting piece. She doesn't become a slave according to the Torah, because once this soldier cohabits with her, then that imposes in their relationship all the obligations of husband. So if he should change his mind about this captive and would send her away, in other words, divorce her, he has to release her and she will become a free woman.
Oh, wow.
Because
she
became his wife. And in that way, she sort of escaped becoming a slave. I think that I'm telling you this and mentioning this because we need to understand that in ancient times, this was very progressive. Mm-hmm. That the way that the Torah treated, especially not only women, but these are, if you wish, a lower type of women. This is a woman who was captured in war, and she was destined to a lower status in society. But if a soldier will choose her, then he will elevate her to the rank of a wife. And something similar is found in the second law that we find at the beginning of this Torah portion. And this law is about what happens to the son of different wives. So polygamy was not uncommon in the ancient Near East, and the Israelites, the Jews, practiced it as well. So the law addresses the fact that sometimes husbands would have one favorite wife and other less favorite, which, is probably was favorite at one point, but she, became kind of fell out of use. I don't know how this works, but I'm just telling you, this is in the Torah. I'm not making this up. But I think the tendency of the husband would have been to favor everything in the wife that he liked most recently. So here the question is about the offspring. So the Torah is clear that if the husband, the man, has a son with whoever it is, whichever wife, that son takes precedence. Even though later on he doesn't like that woman anymore and he has a new wife, and the Torah uses very harsh words, but I think they are from the point of view of the husband. He calls one the ahuvah, the loved one, and the other the snu'ah, the hated one. And I think it's reflecting from the point of view of the husband. The husband says, I like this one, I don't like this one. But the Torah says you can't treat the son of the one that you now don't like as if he weren't your firstborn, because he is your firstborn, so you have to give them rights to that.
So it stays in chronological order no matter which wife.
I mean, you're going to love and hate whoever you want, all right? That's just human nature. But you cannot do that with the firstborn. It is the firstborn of the father, and therefore he should be given the father's state. And the Torah says double to the firstborn, and that was the common practice. So what these two laws show us is that, and I think I mentioned a little bit of this last night if you were joining us for services, it is that in the case of the female war captive or the hated wife, they still have value. They are still worth as human beings, and therefore we should give them respect. And what I thought it was interesting in the Torah in particular is that the Torah doesn't say don't hate the woman or don't take female captives, as if to acknowledge that the impulse within human beings will be there. There will be the impulse to grab everything you can when you are winning a war, and then love and hate the way you would. But that impulse within everyone should not throw off any constraints for decency, and we should not give to selfishness and rage. But the Torah, this is Rashi says, the Torah helps us win the second battle even as we strive to win the first one.
Oh,
and
wow.
so the first battle is the battle, of supremacy. If it's a war, you won. But then it's the second battle, the battle with yourself. Now you won. Are you going to treat your enemies in an unkind way? And the Torah is helping us to win that second battle as well, the battle over our own. Therefore, according to the Talmud, the Torah accommodates human willfulness, striving to moderate rather than to eradicate the ugly side of human nature. And I think when I read some of these laws, they're ugly. I mean, the things that they describe, the hate for a wife, or taking women captive who are defenseless, that doesn't sound very appealing to us in the 21st century. But I think that the idea behind is that these were progressive ideas 3,000 years ago, and they had some notion that you have to care for those who were marginalized, who were left behind on a war or on a marriage in a relationship. And I think that is something we can capture even today. I sometimes wonder what happened to Judaism, especially with the treatment of women, because we have to come to the 21st century and the 20th century in progressive movements of the Reform movement to actually give women back some of those same care and concerns that we find for the captive women 3,000 years ago. So sometimes history takes time, and this what was progressive 3,000 years ago got lost, and unfortunately in some Jewish circles that's still the case. Not among us, but I think that the idea that we had this thrust of way to behave had been with us for a long time, and we just have to lift it up from the Torah whenever we can. So we're reading today from the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 21, verses 10 and 17. Again, another example of a Torah portion beginning kind of in the middle of a chapter 21, verse 10. And remember that the chapter and verse divisions are a Christian invention in the late Middle Ages, so that they pay no attention to how Jews have divided our own scripture for 2,000 years or so by the time they got there. But that's how it is. I'm going to take a sip of water and be right back. I'm back. So our blessings before the reading of the Torah are found on page 369. Please join us. Holy One of blessing, your presence fills creation. You have enlightened this path with the wisdom of Torah, giving it to the Jewish people as their particular way. Blessed are you, merciful One, who gives this Torah to the Jewish people. Amen. כי תצא למלחמה על אויביך, ונתנו אדוני אלוהיך בידיך, ושיבית שביו, וראית בשביה אשת יפת טוהר, וחשכת בה ולקחת לך לאישה, והבאת אל תוך ביתך בגילך את ראשה, ועשת את ציפורניה, והסירה את שמלת שביה מעליה, וישבה בביתך, ובכתה את אביה ואת אמה ירך ימים, ואחר כן תבוא אליה ובעלתה, והיית לך לאישה, והיה אם לא חפצת בה, ושילחת לנפשה, ומקור לא תמכרנה בכסף, לא תתעמר בה תחת אשר עינית, כי תהיינה לאיש שתי נשים, אחת אהובה ואחת צנועה, וילדו לו בנים, האהובה והשנואה, והיה הבן הבכור לשנאה. והיה ביום הנחילו את בנו, את אשר יהיה לו, לא יוכל לבקר את בן האהובה על פני בן השנואה הבכור, כי את הבכור בן השנואה יכיר, לתת לו פי שניים בכל אשר ימצא לו, כי הוא ראשית עונו לו משפט הבכורה. When you take the field against your enemies, and Adonai your God delivers them into your power, and you take some of them captive, and you see among the captives a beautiful woman, and you desire her and would take her for wife, you shall bring her into your house, and she shall trim her hair, pare her nails, and discard her captive's guard. She shall spend a month's time in your house, lamenting her father and her mother. After that, you may come to her and possess her, and she shall be your wife. Then, should you no longer want her, you must release her outright. You must not sell her for money. Since you had your will of her, you must not enslave her. If a man has two wives, one loved and the other unloved, and both the loved and the unloved have borne him sons, but the firstborn is the son of the unloved one, when he wills his property to his son, he may not treat as firstborn the son of the loved one and disregard of the son of the unloved one who is older. Instead, he must accept the firstborn, the son of the unloved one, and allot to him a double portion of all he possesses. Since he is the first fruit of his vigor, the birthright is his due. we continue together with the blessings for after the reading of the Torah. Holy One of blessing, your presence fills creation. This Torah is a teaching of truth, whole and balanced, and from it comes eternal life for the people who embrace it. Blessed are you, merciful One, who gives this Torah to the Jewish people. We now think of those in need of healing. We have sent to you a list for the Mishaberach names through the e-news that you received yesterday, and you can also follow the link in the comments. If you would like to offer names, please type them in the comments so we can all see them. Please go ahead and as we offer prayer for those in need of healing, we also think of those who help in healing, especially those helping first responders and health workers during this pandemic. May the One who blessed and led our forebearers give countenance unto those who provide help for the ill and troubled among us. May they be filled with fortitude and courage, endowed with sympathy and compassion as they give strength to those at their side. May they fight against despair and continue to find within themselves the will to reach out to those in need. And in their love of others, may they feel the blessing of community, the blessing of renewed faith. We conclude the service for the reading of the Torah on page 374 as we join together in the middle of the page in Etz Chaim. On page 593, we prepare for our moment of remembrance. as we share meditation number 3. The light of life is a finite flame, like the Shabbat candles. Life is kindled, it burns, it glows. It is radiant with warmth and beauty, but soon it fades. Its substance is consumed, and it is no more. In light we see, in light we are seen. The flames dance and our lives are full. But as night follows day, the candle of our life burns down and gutters. There is an end to the flames. We see no more, we are no more seen. Yet we do not despair, for we are more than a memory, slowly fading into the darkness. With our lives, we give life. Something of us can never die. We move in the eternal cycle of darkness and death, of light and life. This moment we think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us. We are observing the Shiva period for Jean Horwitz, husband of Sue Horwitz, and the Shloshim period for Monica Kitt, mother and mother-in-law of Jeffrey and Barbara Kitt, and grandmother of Alexa and Sydney. Izzy Ozer, husband of Leslie Ozer, and father-in-law of Stephanie and Adam Eliashar, and grandfather of Jonah and Sarah, and Rosalie Sternick, mother of Frank Sternick. And on this Shabbat, we remember the following yortzites of members of our congregation: Jeannie Bellotti, Michael Blitzstein, Saul Davidson, Jacqueline June Epstein, Faye Ginson, Ron Greenbaum, Gilbert Greenwald, Irvin Cass, Ruth Katz, Ira Kirsch, David Kupperman, Chester Lampert, Ray Lewis, Philip Lustig, Ralph Matzdorf, Mike Meyer, Audrey Milgram Klein Baer, John Pavlov, David Penner, Jack M. Razavsky, Raymond Rittmaster, Richard Rosenfeld, Nathan Saltz, Bertha Spector, Jason Kip Weiner, Mark Weingarten, Edith White, Stacy F. Yetling. Zichronam Livracha, may the memories be for a blessing. On page 598, we rise together and recite Kaddish Yatom. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alema divra chirute ve'yamlich malchute, b'chayechon u'v'mechon u'v'chayei dechol beit Israel, ba'agala u'v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehe shemei Rabbah mevarach le'lam u'le'lemei alemaya, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו לאלה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דאמירם ועלמה ואמרו אמן. יהא שלמה רבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו Amen. We have a few announcements for everybody today. First of all, we'd like to thank everyone who's joined us from our area and from around the country and the world. Special thanks to Leslie Zucker for sharing her lovely music with all of us, and to Dave Zucker, Peter Pizer, and Aviva Simons for helping our congregation have a virtual presence. Just a reminder that while now our building is open for during regular business hours, you must have an appointment to be let into the building. Our next Facebook Live Shabbat service will be Friday, September the 4th at 6:30 p.m., and it will be virtual only. If you would like to join us for Torah study, our Sichat Shabbat will take place next Saturday at 9 a.m. on Zoom. Just a reminder, if you would like to attend one of our High Holidays in-person services, you must respond by September 10th. Information and reservation links could be found in the e-news. Our next virtual ONEC will be next Friday, September 4th. Check your next e-news for the Zoom link and the focus of that.
Woohoo. Also, song session back again Wednesday, the 2nd of September, 7 o'clock on Facebook Live, where we continue to kind of delve into the Elul and High Holy Day themey music. And also, leading up to the High Holy Days, as we continue our Thursday night conversations, we have the second in a series led by our own Rabbi Mark Levin. This one is Praying in Absentia, Dealing with High Holy Days During a Plague. That Zoom link will be in your e-news. That Zoom link was in your e-news yesterday. Time is weird.
Finally, please check us out on Facebook, like our pages. You'll be following us that way, and leave us comments about the service and other virtual events. And have a Shabbat Shalom, and stay healthy, everybody. We will conclude together on page 626 singing Enkeloheinu.
Numbers are hard. Enkeloheinu, Adonai.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Stay well.
Shabbat Shalom. Mwah. Take care of each other out there.